Hi friends, how are you today? I hope you're having a beautiful, wonderful, amazing, gorgeous day. Hi, I missed you. I know I just posted last week, but I was a little bit late to the function. I'm so sorry. If you watched my last video, my boyfriend and my mom are actually back in town. They went on vacation, not together, separately, but it was just really inconvenient that they left the same time. And what was even more inconvenient is that I also got the flu the same week that they left. Yeah. I ended up having to miss a week of work, had to go to the urgent care, had to do a lot of business, and I was really sick. I lost my wallet for a while there. It was actually a really funny story. So, not last Sunday, but the Sunday before, I was super sick, woke up, vomited my guts out, and I'm like, okay, this is not cool. I have been sick for like 3 days now. I need to go to the urgent care. Take my ass over to the urgent care, right? Anyways, I take my ass over to the urgent care and they're like, oh, you have the flu. And I'm like, no kidding. Are you serious? And so obviously they gave me a prescription and shit. I go and get it. I went to Target to get myself like some applesauce and some soup because I couldn't hold down real food. So I had to eat just like crackers and nothing for a few days. That wasn't great. Um, so I'm in the line at Target, right? I'm ready to go pay. I go to the self-checkout, none of them are open, not a single one. I'm like, okay, cool. Had my mask on. Difficult as fuck breathing, because one, the mask, it doesn't like stop you from breathing, but it makes it a little bit difficult, especially when you yourself are sick with the flu. But I also don't want to get anyone else sick. So, like, anyways, so I was sitting there dying because I couldn't breathe. And then on top of that, I needed to vomit. And I knew as soon as I got to the parking lot, it was going to happen. So I wait in the line. This really sweet girl checks me out. She's like, okay, you need anything else? I'm like, no, I just got to get the fuck out of here. So I book it to my car, right? And I vomit in the parking lot. So afterwards, obviously, I'm like, damn, I should have got some water in there, but I didn't want to go back in. So I'm like, I'm just going to go through a drive-through. Pull up to the drive-through. And I'm like, I just need a water, that's it. And they're like, okay, cool, it's this much, come pull up forward. And I'm like, okay, cool. I couldn't find my wallet. And I was pissed because I couldn't get my damn water. And that's all I fucking wanted was some water so I could not have the taste of vomit in my mouth. So I drive off, didn't get my water, pissed as fuck, had to go back to the Target, went inside, spoke to this other really pretty lady. She was like, nope, no wallet here. And I'm like, you know what I mean? So then I go out to the parking lot, I look in my cart that I had, I looked all over around, could not find that bitch. I'm like, all right, it's gone. I just need to go home. I am at this point dying, need to vomit again, have to go home because I can't do anymore. Got home and I just froze all my cards, did not pick up my wallet until last Friday. That's how sick I was. It was a lot. Had a full week of work just gone. Oopsies, you're just dying. So that was super lovely. But thankfully, since I was gone without, I was boyfriendless and momless for a week, I was like, hey, cool, now I'm also sick. What else could I possibly do? Well, Jade, you've had a pretty tough year this year. Lots of trials, tribulations, adversities, things for you to focus on. What a better time than when you're puking your guts out, right? That's just what I did. So, got my trusty little spiritual journal here. Magic is something you make, isn't she cute? I'm almost done, like, bitch. I got a few pages left, and this is my second one. If you know anything about spiritual journey, you're gonna need like at least 80 of these big bitches because damn, you're always writing. But anyways, so what I really wanted to focus on was primarily the endings that I had this year because to be real, there was quite a lot of endings. Was in a relationship with this guy. I thought he was great, the whole 9 yards. Come to find out, after I did some little internal work, shit was not going the way that I wanted it to go. So I say, skirt, skirt, you know what I mean? And then after that, I let a friend of mine move in because she needed a place to stay. And so I was like, hey, cool, yeah, we were friends in high school. Like, what's the worst that can happen? A lot. A lot can happen. Anyways, so the other house, was a problem. I realized that I needed to get out and I wanted to get a new apartment. So I'm like, hey girl, let's get out of here. We don't like this place. Let's find somewhere new. So we did, and then shit hit the fan, and we're no longer friends or roommates anymore, which is fine. However, I also, with that bridge burning, all of my other bridges burned with my friends. How fun is that? Actually, it's not that big of a deal. So, when I was kind of going in within, when I was really sick, I was thinking back to all of my relationships in my life, and I'm like, I've never really had a consistent friend. And I was always like, okay, well, what am I doing wrong that's making these people not want to be friends with me anymore? And so I had to start to do some thinking. And I'm like, well, damn, every time that I've ended friendships or they've gone a certain way, it's because I've tried to set up a boundary and they don't like it. Which is something that I've already been learning this year, is that people don't like it when you've been a people pleaser for up to a certain amount of time, and then you decide, hey, I don't want to do that anymore. And then you set boundaries, and then you're the worst person on the fucking planet. That's been this year. But also, on top of that, it's just a lot of outgrowing people, and a lot of doing the inner work that a lot of people don't want to do. And when I say inner work, I mean like sitting down, analyzing a problem that happened in your life. So writing down all of the different things that happened, what led up to that problem, what you could have done different, and looking at all different possible sides of a problem. That's what I like to do whenever I have a certain adversity in front of me. And that's exactly what I did. So I sat here, I took a look, and I'm like, okay, so I've never really had a consistent friend in my life. Every time I did, something always happens. You know, they say they don't want to be friends with me. And this and this and this and this. Sickness. Fuck you, type flu A. You're a stupid bitch, and you need to get out of my system now. Anyways, this year I've been put in a lot of adult situations, a lot of adult just dealing with adult problems. So in that way, that I had to disconnect from a lot of people that weren't necessarily on that same level, which this is no hate, no shade or anything. You know, we're all in our different individual journeys, and the way that I came about this adulthood learning process is not my favorite. Had to go through a lot, had to go through a lot of things by myself, and it was a good thing. And being alone during that week where I was also sick, it really gave me the nice, comfortable space to really go within and think and really process all of the endings and beginnings that were happening, as I was living my life in a certain way for so long that it was kind of weird to suddenly have this shift in my mindset where it's like a lot of things that used to matter to me so much before doesn't matter to me now, and is very prevalent within my relationships, especially with friends. Like, I was holding on to friends that I was grew up around for so long, and this will all come into play, I promise. So if you're familiar with me, my healing, or my channel at all, I am not only just a creative artist, I also like to heal myself through my artwork. So, you know, once I go within, do all the hard work and all the crying and all that business, my favorite thing is at the end of it, once I've kind of come to a conclusion of how I feel and accept that this happens for a reason, and all of our adversities that we face in life, all the moments that we feel alone, that we feel abandoned, that's actually a beautiful thing, and it's not something that you should ever just let bring you down or beat you down. And this was very prevalent to me this year, because there were so many times that although I wasn't alone physically, I felt alone within, and I had gotten so disconnected from my inner self and my inner knowing that I have been able to come forward, especially in this point in time now, where I feel like I am at a point where no matter what happens, I will always be stable and have 2 feet planted on the ground, which is not something that I have really ever felt before. You know, there was always those like, oh, what if, you know, that little inner anxiety voice that just keeps going and going and going and never giving me a break. So the adversities that I had to face this year, as difficult as they might have been in the time, I am so happy and so proud to have come out the other side even stronger and an even better person than I was before I went in. And this year was such a tough lesson for me. One, starting off with boundaries, keeping your boundaries and maintaining your own peace, and removing those who just aren't adding to my life, even if it isn't something that's so toxic and so disgusting. It doesn't have to always be so dramatic. And that's not something that I ever really put together, is that like people cannot be good for you without it having to be toxic, if that makes any sense. It's yes, a person might say all the beautiful, pretty things that you want to hear, but are their actions aligning with their words? And if they're not, then that person's not good for you. And it took me so long to understand, why is it that these people, they treat me good, but they do things that aren't in alignment with what they are saying? And that to me is another form of manipulation. And that isn't something that I wanted to go through or wanted in my life. So when I took a good solid look at all of these problems that I had faced in my life, one thing that was causing these problems that made me go through these different adversities was a feeling of incomplete and loneliness. Now, for the longest time, ever since I can remember, I've always been a lone wolf. I would spend my summers inside my room watching YouTube. That's all I would do. I wouldn't hang out with friends. I wouldn't go anywhere. Many summers I would just spend by myself or with my mom. My mom, I would consider my best friend. I don't have a real, like, not related best friend, okay? And so for that, I often thought that there was something wrong with me. I was always told growing up that your 20s is supposed to be like the time of your life, you know, where you're most happy, where you got your coolest friends, and you're doing this and this and this and this and this and this and that. Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, my 20s are going to be so great. I mean, they've been fine, but they weren't like what everyone else's were. And I would often compare what my life looked like to others. Now, I lived in the city by myself for about 2 years, and the first year that I lived by myself, I lived with a significant other. There I never saw friends, but that was because that man was toxic. But after that, I was living on my own in the plaza that we have down here where I live, and there I saw friends, but even when I saw friends, I always felt a certain disconnect where I could never fully just be myself around these people. Like, there was always like, I don't know if it's like an animosity or like a jealousy type thing, but I never understood it. And I never wanted that. Like, I just wanted to be somewhere where I could just fully be myself and people not look at me a certain way or say a certain thing about me and make me question everything about myself. Like, for example, I'd have friends make fun of who I was with or who I was dating at the time, saying, oh, he got this and this and this, he's ugly, he's crusty, when they wouldn't really see what I would see in people. And for that, it would get very frustrating because they would be quick to judge. And I would be like, well, you don't know. And so oftentimes people would think that I was weird or like a pushover, and like, that's fine, that's cool, that's whatever. But it had gotten to a point, especially more so recently, where I just wasn't feeling the same desire that I used to have to keep those friendships and to keep those people that I had in my life for so long. I just really didn't see the benefit of having these people around who never really made me feel complete in the first place. And so that's when I started removing a lot of people in my life. I would have friends that would come for me and like ask for my advice and then go off and do the whole different other thing. And that's fine, but I have the right to not want that in my life. You get what I'm saying? Because I've also been that friend where I would say, oh, I need your advice, and then I'd go off and go do the total opposite. And I know how frustrating that is. So I wouldn't want to put with myself in that during that time. Why would I want to do that again? You know what I mean? But that is not here nor there. What this is truly about is, especially once I had kicked out the girl that I was living with, well, she was living with me, and after we had everything with my other house happened and I decided that I didn't want to live there anymore and it was just too much of a hassle, we had decided to get this place together, and I was really, really excited. I was like, yay, I can finally like have that cute girly roommate dynamic type that I've always wanted. Come to find out, I just don't think I'm capable of that. And I say that is like, I require too much of my own space and my own loneliness to share that with another person. I, for so long, wanted myself to feel guilty for wanting to be alone. That I would try and like guilt trip myself into thinking, oh, I have to have these people in my life or else I will have no one. But in reality, I already had no one. You know, they didn't care about me as deeply as I cared about them. And it just, the time had come where I had come to the realization that that type of lifestyle where I felt like I had to keep people in my life or else I was gonna be lonely, that just didn't align with me anymore. And I was like, what's the point of keeping these people around if at the end of the day I still feel alone? Like, your presence will not affect my day-to-day. And that's been very prevalent since I've removed these people. If anything, I'm happier now that I don't have to worry about keeping a certain image for them because I'm not like them. And that's okay because I'm myself. And if they don't like that, they're more than welcome to not like that. Because I don't like that part that didn't align with me. So it is what it is. And I'm happy that I've come to the point where I just don't care to have people in my life that aren't adding or benefiting, as horrible and selfish as that might say or might sound. I'm not thinking of it like, how can they benefit me? You know, I want it to be equal. I give, you give. You know what I mean? And with those past relationships, it never felt like that. It always felt like I had to be somebody that I wasn't in order to get their type of approval. And that's just not how I want to live my life anymore. And with that mindset, I think I also kind of opened up a different door that had not been opened before. Because I'm sure a lot of young women can relate to this. I'm 21, and up until this point, I never really felt like I was 21. I always felt like I was a teenage girl living in a 20-year-old body or an 80-year-old girl living in a 20-year-old body based off of my divorce. But anyways, I just never really felt like I was responsible for myself, I guess. And after this year, I definitely have opened that door to where I feel finally fully responsible for myself. And in that feeling is a very powerful, uplifting feeling where I finally feel like an adult and I feel like I'm in alignment with who I should be as an adult. And that feeling in itself is just fantastic. But I feel like I've rambled on enough about my background and what I was feeling when I created this picture. I feel like I should just go ahead and rip off the band-aid and show you. You're probably like, bitch, I'm done. Anyways, this is her. This is me. So, to people who might look at the picture and think, oh, that's just a regular, like, picture. Or they might take a first glance at it and think, oh, she's so sad, she's so lonely. And for that, I'm not going to disagree with you. because that's your perception. That is your perception of this picture that I have created. Is that my reality? No. The way I see this is me. That's my kitty Tora. This is my baby Tek Tek. Right there is my journal. This one, right here. To me, this is my physical representation of how I'm able to go within and heal those, just heal those inner wounds and really just feel out all of the things that I need to feel. And in that, I create a safe space for myself where I never feel lonely. Because once you're able to really be there for yourself and show up for yourself, you don't need anybody else. And once you get to that point, it is truly empowering and amazing. And every time I look at this, it just reminds me of all of the inner work that I have done to get to where I am today. And it's a monument to me. It means so much to me because I have gone through trials, tribulations, and everything in between to get to where I am today. And I'm so proud of where I am. I worked hard as fuck to get here. And I'm going to continue working to live the life that I deserve. Because I will always do the hard work. I will always go within and figure out what about me needs to change. What do I need to do to be my best self? And I can't do that if I have people around me that aren't doing that for themselves. And although that road might be more lonely to the outsider, but to me, I'm living my truth. And nothing gets more fulfilling than living my truth. I hope you have learned something from me today. I hope that this picture has given you the strength to cut out those necessary people that aren't benefiting or adding to you or helping you grow in some way, because you have a lot meant for you, especially if you're seeing this, because that means we're in alignment, my friend. And that to me truly means so much to me. I love a beautiful community that just wants people to love and heal and to grow. That way we can all be our best, most beautiful high self. And that wonderful, amazing things happen. Well, that is it for me today. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, I hope you learned something from this. I am here for you every single week. Goodbye, my lovelies. It's good to see you.